let me please start. My name is Jakub. I'm representing SmokeD today. We in SmokeD specialize in creating and providing AI-driven cameras and detectors for early wildfire detection. However, the webinar isn't about us today. We'll begin with a few words from our colleague Eva Zin from the Association of Independent Fire Experts, who will share insights about forest camp. Following that, I'm pleased to introduce our main speaker, Jesús Morcillo y Julià, Wildfire Coordinator in the Valencian Wildfire Fighters, Pau Costa Foundation Collaborative Instructor, and international expert with 24 years of experience in professional wildland firefighting. He will share his insights on fire management challenges and solutions. Due to technical issues, I will share our today's presentations. So whenever you're ready, Eva, you can start. Give me a second. I will share your presentation.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to join you during today's webinar. And generally, my main message for you is the information about a very interesting and very valuable event, which is organized in Poland mainly by our association in cooperation with a couple of other institutions. And unfortunately, for this year's edition, we are already fully booked, but generally, maybe the information I will give you will encourage you to apply for the following editions. So generally, Forest Camp had 4 editions so far, and this is an international training in wildland firefighting and fire management, I would say. So far, over 400 participants from, I would say, over 30 countries and 4 continents took part in it. And what we are so proud of is the fact that we had participants representing very different backgrounds, like from firefighters, of course, to forest management managers, researchers, land managers as well, and employees of civil defense. But what we are even more proud of is that in the very core of Central Europe, we were able to gather instructors from very different countries with very different backgrounds, including Jesús. So, but not only Mediterranean Europe is included. We have also teachers from United States, from Great Britain, and Germany. And the main idea of the event, or the main idea of this particular training, is learning by doing. So there is really a lot of practical activities involving real interaction with fire, but not only firefighting is included. I would say that the whole background of fire management is there. So we have also working with planning a lot, with scenarios, with safety, with emergency issues, with control light building, etc. And of course, last but not least, this great event gives a very important opportunity for global networking, which I would say, which we've noticed already that this can profit for the future. The great new, or something which we are really proud of, we have participants who are coming back. So this is really a cool thing. For this year, as far as I know, there are no free places anymore, but in case you would be interested to join us in the following editions, just send us an email to the email address you see on this slide, or send us a private message on Facebook, or just Google SN just Google SNEP. I will spell it in Polish because I'm not good in spelling in English. Sorry for that. And then, or Google simply Forest Camp Poland, and you should be able to find all the contact details and all information about the event. Yeah, so that's all from my side, and I'm really looking forward for hearing the talk by Jesús.
Thank you very much, Eva. I will share now the presentation of Jesús, and whenever you're ready, Jesús, you can start.
Hello, everyone. Well, good evening. Good evening here in Spain. Good morning in other places of the world. Good afternoon. It's a real pleasure being here. Thank you very much to Jakub and Camila and Eva, and of course to Jan Kaczmarowski. He invited me here, so it's a real pleasure. Thank you very much to SmokeD for organizing such an engaging exchange forum as this series of webinars. Well, thank you for the overwhelming introduction. I will skip this briefly, but just let me tell you that I'm an operational professional. I have worked in various positions, always on the front line. And in 2015, I started traveling in this case, to the United States. I attended several treks, prescribed burning training exchanges. I started to learn about my profession, and since then, as a trainer, I have had the opportunity to help many colleagues in their professional growth, which is great. All right, so let's get started. Let's start with a staggering fact. At least that's what it looks like to me. Did you know that over the past 2 decades, Wildland Urban Interface areas globally have grown by 30%? This increase means millions more people, homes, and ecosystems that now are directly exposed to the risk of wildfires. Urbanization is creeping deeper into natural landscapes, and as a result, the scale and intensity of the Wildland Urban Interface-related incidents are on the rise on a global scale. There are a number of common factors that determine the rapid spread of wildfires, such as rural abandonment, for an instance, changes in land use, and the clear case here in Europe. In other places, the dynamics are quite different. I used to say that fire and the fire issue is a global reality, but it's a local issue. So we have to tackle this from a local perspective. Well, let's take a look at the impact of this emergency, this kind of emergency in the world. So here I share with you this report from the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations. You can see there the difference. This is the forest coverage in the world, and it's related to the poverty rate or to the economic resources that the society has, because forests are extremely related and determined with the societies that they live. So in developed countries, there has been a low or non-existent extractive pressure on non-productive forest masses where they are not productive, leading to reforestation. It's a forest regrowth. Traditional uses such as burning, firewood harvesting, or grazing have practically disappeared in certain areas, like the Mediterranean basin or parts of California, for example. In other places, there are forestry plantations that have not been maintained from the perspective of fire prevention, leading to the creation of continuous flammable masses across the landscape. There you can see on the graphic on the right, you can see the net forest growth or net forest loss, depending on the place in the world, and how it has changed from the 1990 to the 2020 in million hectares per year. And we can see a difference, a clear difference between Asia and Europe. Then Oceania, North and Central America are more or less neutral. But then in South America and Africa, there's a huge difference. This is due to the deforestation, the massive deforestation in tropical forests, mainly. And in Asia and Europe, let me tell you that in Asia, major countries like, for example, China or both of the Koreas are not on the report. But in the rest of area of Asia, we can see how forests have grown. There's a net forest growth in this area, and also in Europe. So this is the case of Europe, and the case of Europe is clear, and of course determines my career, because this is the place where I work. I don't know if you're familiarized with the European map. I'm from the eastern shore of Spain, which is the country on the down on the left corner. So if you can press please Yahoo, if you can press the play on that picture, you can see the difference. So you can see the changing color. So the darker the green is, that corresponds to forest, and the brighter it is grasslands. So you can see that 100 years ago, pretty much all across Europe was covered by grasslands, and nowadays forests are regrowing, and this has different reasons. But basically, the economy in Europe, specifically in my country, Spain, but in other places like France, like so many other places, has changed enormously over the last century. It has transitioned from an extremely rural and agrarian subsistence economy to a modern industrial society. So many places have been depopulated, and traditional practices have been lost in most cases. So here, these are the traditional uses I was referring. This is an agricultural field of olive trees. Of course, we still have them here in Spain, and also in Italy, in Greece, in other countries, but they are reduced to the most productive places, those places that you can mechanize them, because plenty of small crops in the mountains have been abandoned. Of course, for example, Spain was a wool producer, throughout history, and nowadays is something super rare to see, super weird to see sheep grazing in the forest, and also the extractive of the wood and other materials. All of this, a big percentage of these activities is completely gone, and we are struggling to bring it back, because we see now the imbalance of the landscape and how badly we need those. Well, I will provide you some examples. This is Ayodar. It's a town pretty close to the place where I am now, and you can see the mountains, how they look like 60, 70 years ago. You can see the terraces on the background. You can see that there are few trees, few shrubs, some kind of erosion there. That's what our mountains used to look like a long time ago. And now if you move forward and go to the next picture, we can see how it is the same place right now. So these mountains have changed drastically. You can see this is Aleppo pine, Pinus alepensis, which is a fire-prone species. It has serotinous cones, and it's able to regrow after fires. So the terraces are nowhere to be seen there, if you can see. Ayodar has changed a lot. This specific town has changed a lot, because just few people live there. Some elders live there the whole year round, and in the summer the population increases because people go there to spend the summer. But they don't work in the forest. They don't live from the forest anymore. So the forest is abandoned. The mountains are abandoned, and this is what we can see. Between this picture and the previous one, there has been at least 2 major wildfires. So we can see that fire is not the end of anything. Fire is just a natural, an ecological process. And what we see is that this landscape is able to carry and to produce a terrible wildfire that engulfs that whole town. Okay, this is another example here in my state, in the Valencian Autonomous Community. This is Calp. The economy in Calp is completely different. It's a touristic place, but you can see the same thing. I mean, in 100 years ago, it was dedicated to agricultural fields. And if you look at the mountain, no trees, no shrubs there, no vegetation. There was nothing. People used to graze their sheep over there, and they used to burn when the grazing seasons ended. So there was no vegetation at all. And as you can see, the urbanistic planning has changed a lot. You can see buildings, those are apartments, and you can see some factories. So basically what we have is a change, a completely change in the economic model in the landscape. Well, let's fly towards that big rock. That big rock is called the Peñal d'Ifac. Let's fly there. This is Calp right now. So this is a touristic city. So many people from so many Britons, people from the Northern Europe, Central Europe come here to spend their summer. And as you can see, everything has changed. Starting from the forest, in the first here closer to us, you can see a fire-prone Mediterranean forest. Again, the Aleppo pine. Covers everywhere, and if you look at the background, you can see all of those wildland urban interface areas spreading and trying to climb on those mountains. So we have passed through from a scenario where a fire was impossible and to a very chaotic and dangerous scenario here. So this is the Wildland Urban Interface on a global scale. This is an article in Science that was published last November, I think. And there's the link if in case the organization shares the presentation. It's highly recommendable. And you can see that Wildland Urban Interface is everywhere. It doesn't matter if you are a developed country or an emerging one. Wildland Urban Interface, it's gonna be there. Of course, it's gonna be worse if you live in a fire-prone ecosystem, but it doesn't matter if you live in the boreal place of the world. You can get the right conditions at any time. So if there's a Wildland Urban Interface, it just takes one or two couple of bad weeks, dry weeks with crazy winds, and you can get a scary situation. So it's a global issue. Well, let's start with the very basic. What is the Wildland Urban Interface? So Wildland Urban Interface is those places, those areas where human development meets or intermingles with natural and developed land. Particularly significant because it is prone to wildfires. Some fires will come from the forest towards our buildings, our homes. Others will go from the homes, from our communities to the forest. But this is the place. So it's particularly significant because it is prone to wildfires, which can pose risks to nearby communities. And it doesn't matter, as I said, if you live in a fire-prone ecosystem or not, because eventually you will get the right conditions to have a fire. Well, let's speak about the different. Let's talk about the different kinds of wildland urban interface. What we understand. So the wildland urban interface is categorized into different types based on the interaction between human development and wildland vegetation. And so here's a breakdown of the difference. So intermix is in this type, wildland vegetation and human development are intermingled. There is no clear boundary between the developed areas and wildlands, and housing density is typically lower. So vegetation occupies more or less 50% of the area. In the classic, so-called classic interface, wildland urban interface, this type features a distinct boundary where development areas directly abut wildland vegetation. So housing density is higher compared to the intermix interface. Vegetation occupies less than 50% of the area. And then the last case is the occluded wildland urban interface. This is a less common category where small pockets of wildland vegetation are surrounded by urban or suburban development. So it represents isolated patches of vegetation within a predominantly developed area. Well, it's very important to differentiate here the building materials, because nowadays we're seeing fires that they are not wildfires anymore, or they are not even wildland urban interface fires anymore, because the fire is sustained, is carried by one building to the next. So this is a key element that I would like to tackle on this conversation here today. Well, when it comes to fighting a wildland urban interface fire, how we tackle the operations here? So let's face this in a classical approach. This is just an example. This is an image of a fire in Alabama took by the ability sensor, but it doesn't matter. It could be a wind-driven episode or a topographic one. So the classic here is, you can move forward, Yahoo. So first, when we arrive, we look at these fires. We analyze the fire in its components. So head, flanks, and rear. So we examine its propagation driver. So wind, topography, convection, or column. So you can have a wind-driven episode, a plume-driven episode, or a topographic fire. So you perform the classic assessment of critical points, opportunity zones, and potential primary and secondary runs. So then the traditional approach would say that you can, this is just an example, of course, if there are firefighters, and I know that there are so many firefighters watching this webinar, they will say that it's not always like this. Okay, that's true, but this is just a basic example. So the traditional approach could be, on this case, to focus on weakening the fire's propagation mechanism. So a typical strategy could involve starting at the rear, which is the slowest part of the fire, working along the flanks and progressing toward the head. So resources are positioned at an anchor point, with operations advancing while maintaining themselves close to the burned area. And this is the so-called 1 foot on the block. So the firefighters, we are so close to the safety zone, if it's well burned, of course. The fixed-wing aircraft can be used to safeguard critical points and mitigate the rate of spread in the fastest-moving sections of the fire, particularly the head. Rotary wing aircraft to reduce flame intensity and length along with the flanks, enabling helita crews and ground teams using hoses or hand tools to extinguish the flames effectively. This could be a typical case, just forest fire or wildland fire. And this is a real case that we faced in 2022 here in my province. This is the shape is really similar to the previous case, but this is a wildland urban interface fire. So everything changes. Even though the example is inaccurate, it serves for educational purposes. So it was a fire that was originated on the railway tracks, and due to its main axis of propagation, it rapidly advanced toward a municipality with significant urban forest interface exposure and so many people living there in the summer, because it's the same case that we saw previously. So here, obviously, you have from the manager of the emergency perspective, everything changes. You have to size how to cut the traffic on those roads, how to take the power lines, and you have to count with the safety resources, the police, to evacuate, and you have a short time to do that. So everything changes. There's a whole new world in order to new inputs, new information that you have to manage in order to solve this problem. It's a really more complicated case. And then, of course, the tactics change and vary, because in this case, well, when a fire is heading a place, that all of that area is called, this is an Australian concept, but it's applied everywhere. I would say this is the dead man zone. So a wildland firefighter is not gonna never face a head of fire unless it's super clear that he can win and he has a safety zone on his back. But in Wildland Urban Interface, we have to develop and to deploy their resources in order to protect structures. So basically, they are against the wildland firefighting basics. This is something new. You have to count with that. Obviously, you have the aircrafts in order to support your operations, but I mean the perspective is different. The whole perspective. Well, when it comes to the approach, when it comes to tackle how to manage previous to a fire or in case of an emergency in a wildland urban interface, There's an author here in Spain. He has spoke a lot about Wildland Urban Interface. He's David Caballero. And he always speaks about microscale, mesoscale, and microscales. I mean, different levels of approaches in order to focus and to help preventive management or on an emergency response. These pictures were taken by me in Xàbia, in Alacant. So you can see the classic scenario that we have right here: and managed wildland forests surrounding these neighborhoods. Also, in the Wildland Urban Interface, we face supplementary risks. This is not just fire behavior anymore, because you have to take care of crowds. You have to manage people. There is going to be, some of them will be scared, will take their cars and will drive in a crazy way. Others will come to take pictures of the resources working there. I mean, the human factor is always complicated, and you have to manage that because it's the main difference, I would say. Also, you have a lot of super critical and dangerous components like explosive gases, like super poisonous smokes. That's also a problem. There's also, where there's smoke and there's heavy traffic, you have the traffic safety, power lines, electric installations. There's a whole new world of risks that are going to threat your firefighters and the people who work there. So we speak about the defensible space, and this has to be created and maintained before the fire reaches this scenario. So with the firefighter, we are not able to defend every single structure anymore. We have to triage. You have to say, well, this provides me a safety area, or this doesn't provide me a safety area, and I have to move on. I'm very sorry, you're going to lose your property, but I have to move on because I'm not safe here anymore. So this is just an example of how it can be created. Move on. And of course, when we speak about building materials, we're speaking about the local culture. So, according to the culture, to the history of the country, you have different urban planning cultures, and you have different building materials. So this is just an example. We are talking on a global scale, but this is three different examples on three different continents. Here in Spain, we used to build our traditional buildings, used to be stone walls, and also bricks. So obviously, this is Wildland Urban Interface, but this place is going to provide you a safety environment to work in, because probably you can get a house burned, but that the whole town is not going to burn. That's for sure. On the other hand, you see the Ashland in Oregon over there. Obviously, everything is different. A fire could run through those streets and could burn and could jump from one structure to the next. And then we've got a picture from Valparaiso, and same thing. It's a different culture, different economic development rate, but pretty much a similar scenario than the previous one, than the one in the United States. So knowing your building materials and your urban planning culture, your urban planning development is key in order to adjust your response. You can play this one. Well, if you don't have a stone wall building, you can treat and you can spread the word that the neighborhoods or the local authorities promote these kind of treatments for your houses, because it's gonna be key in order to get better results when it comes to wildfires. So what's happening? Let's take a look on the world, and let's see a few examples in different areas of the world of what's happening. Well, I'm going to skip this because I assume that every single attendee is going to share this with me. But climate trends are changing, and everything is pushing towards more explosive atmosphere with drought events, with heavy rains events, with big droughts, heat waves, this kind of events that we're seeing. Also, there's an impact on the tourism. Here in Spain, this is a touristic country. There are so many different touristic countries. I'm thinking of California. I'm thinking of so many places like Cape Town in South Africa, or other places that people go there to spend their holidays. Turkey, Greece, Italy, so many places. So if we don't manage, if we don't try to mitigate the risk in the Wildland Urban Interface, we're going to get an impact on our economies, a major impact, not only in the safety of human losses and in terms of human losses, that of course, but also it's an economic impact. This is important to transmit to the politicians, to the decision makers in our society, in order to tackle and to face this problem in the right way. This guy is from the UK, and he's spending his holidays in Xàbia, in Alicante, and he's saying, well, they told me, come to Xàbia, you will have a great time. And he's saying, there's a damn wildfire just close to my apartment, and I don't feel safe here anymore. So this is not the dreamt holiday, right? Well, this is what we are having. I'm gonna tell you different cases that have happened during the last decade. This is Fort McMurray fire in Alberta, Canada. It burned more than 500,000 hectares, so more than 1.5 million acres. So just 2 indirect deaths, but over 88,000 people evacuated. So it was a great, massive event. This was Las Máquinas fire in Chile. It was the world's first 6th-generation fire due to its intensity and rapid spread, and was able to create its own weather, its own environment. And these are major fires, major events. So we can see that these events are affecting in different places of the world. These were the fires in Uttarakhand in India in 2017. They burned 3,000 hectares, which is not much, but there were more than 1,200 fire incidents simultaneously, causing 9 deaths and creating a necessity there in India. I was able to last month to visit India in collaboration with Byfirest and a local partner, Firefly, and we were trying to transmit the importance and delivering training there, because things are changing pretty much there in that part of the world. Well, in 2017, we had the worst fire in terms of fatalities here in Europe. It was Pedrogao Grande. Killed 66 people and injured over 250 people, and burnt 40,000 hectares. You can see there on the picture that simultaneously we had different fires. There was another one in Galicia, which is to the north, that killed 4 people more. And this was an extreme weather event, so close to a storm that was approaching the Iberian Peninsula. This was a tragic loss. You can see the eucalyptus there. So they grow eucalyptus in order to sell the wood and to take a profit of it, but they don't manage that land properly, and they don't educate the people in order to respond in a proper way. Things have changed. Some things have changed. My Portuguese friends know that very well. A couple of years after this episode, I visited my friend Antonio Patrao there, and I was able to visit the area. But unfortunately and sadly, the eucalyptus were growing. The log piles were there, ready to be sold. So it was kind of a sad feeling what I got. Well, this was the Taps fire in Santa Rosa and Napa in California, 2017, killing 22 people. And this was the first time that I saw a complete neighborhood burned to ashes like crazy. I mean, when I saw those images and those footages, I was thinking, this is not a wildfire anymore. I mean, there's something that needs to be done with the building materials there, among other things that we will tackle on this conversation. The Black Summer in Australia in 2019 to 2020, well, it burned more than 18 million hectares, which is crazy. 33 lives were lost, thousands of homes destroyed, and 3 billion animals affected. Well, in plenty of most of these episodes, we can see smoke plumes heading the sea. That's because of the offshore winds, foreign winds. We can speak about Santa Ana, we can speak about Ponent here or other. But these critical events trap the people who live there in a fire-prone ecosystems, and the fire creates trap. Well, the Mediterranean wildfire season here in different countries, in Algeria, Italy, Greece, and Turkey, burned more than 620,000 hectares, killing more than 100 people, 90 of them just in Algeria. We broke the record temperature in Sicily on that summer. That was the European record, and this gives us tells us about the issue that goes towards borders, towards continents, towards it doesn't matter if you are poor or rich. Fire is an issue, and it's a problem everywhere. Well, the following year we had the Vejís fire that burned almost 20,000 hectares here in my province. Particularly, this was the most intense wildfire that I have ever fought, and it was there was a train trapped and passengers were injured, trying to escape. The same year, here in Spain, we had the La Culebra fire that was even bigger, and it was also caused. We have a severe drought here in Spain, and when you've got a drought, the fields are going to be stressed. If you've got a previous drought and then you have a heat wave, and then that dries all of the fine depth fuel, and then you get foam winds event, you've got the perfect cocktail, and this is what we are seeing pretty much all over the world. Okay, so in 2023 we have the Evros fire in Greece. This is the largest fire in European history. Killed more than 20 people. Thousands of residents were displaced, and again, it was fueled by dryness, heat waves, and strong winds. So same thing. You can see I visited Greece. I was lucky enough to deliver there a presentation also, and I visited a monastery that was in the middle of a former fire, and what we can see there is a man trying to save a picture, an old picture. This is another phase of the fire here, especially here in Europe and in other places. Fire is also a threat to patrimonial assets and to the patrimonial culture. Also in 2024, we had the South African wildfire crisis. This is a picture from NCC firefighters. I sent a big hug to my friend Dean Ferreira. And it killed 34 people, including firefighters. Nearly 4 million hectares were burned, and over 2,000 animals were killed. It was a massive, terrible fire season also. And all of these events are so close to us. So we are seeing kind of a trend. So Palisades fire in Los Angeles, this is so close to us. It killed 12 people, burned 23,000 hectares, more than 23,000, and it destroyed the incredible number of 6,000 structures. So again, it was fueled by Santa Ana winds, which are offshore winds and foam winds that affect the area. And it occurred after months of drought and on a steep pressure gradient. So we've got the perfect cocktail again. So you've got the perfect scenario. The only thing that we can do here is to try to improve what we've got, because other things don't depend on they are not on our hands anymore. Well, this occurred just last February. Thanks to Aurora, which provides us incredible products, I would say. Well, you can play it. It burned more than 2,900 hectares. One person was killed, and over 4,500 people were evacuated. So it's a great event, considering that we are in winter on that part of the world. Well, so as we have seen, the issue of the urban forest interface must be addressed holistically with a comprehensive approach. There are different responses, different stakeholders in the world that are providing solutions. For example, the National Wildfire Coordination Group is providing the standard for mitigation in the Wildland Urban Interface. We can also, there are in Canada or in CAL FIRE, we've got different people working towards finding what are the solutions. Same thing. This is the CAL FIRE Ready Set Go material that they provide to the owners. And well, we have to look what we did in the past that can help us. This is not sustainable in terms of economy anymore, but provides us a completely completely rainbow of opportunities, social opportunities, and provides us helps us to maintain those places in a very cheap way. You can create local products. You can generate local economy. It's we have to look back to livestock as a possibility of managing. We can also implement prescribed burns, or we should do them. Well, this was a burn that we did in Florida in the Disney Wilderness Preserve. And the signal is in South Carolina. But basically, prescribed burns is also very cheap, and it's also complex, but it's an interesting way of trying to manage that field. Definitely is cheaper than machinery. And also, if you analyze and you study the local pyroecology, it can provide good outcomes to the vegetation itself, to the nature, to the biodiversity itself. Also, we have to manage with the smoke, but it's another tool that we should take into account. Also, thinning. Thinning is what we do on a more quotidian base, on a daily base. Here, I can say here in my province, this has changed a lot, has improved a lot, and all of our towns in the Wildland Urban Interface are treated all around them with fire breaks that nowadays are being maintained by different forest brigades that are hired for that purpose. So we face it here in my province because in the local communities are scarce. Few people live up there on the mountains. So this the administrative is paying for this. In other places, we can have different solutions. For example, Forescat is a private enterprise in Catalonia, and there's also a project in Gran Canaria, in the Canary Islands. You can see the pictures there. Basically, you reduce the amount of fuel in order to lower your fire risk. It's as simple as that, and as complicated as that, because then you have to maintain it, and of course you have to gather the money that is required, etc. But it's something that we cannot look towards other place. Well, the private sector addresses the issue and offers solution. These are just a few examples that I know very well, but there are thousands of them in the world. For example, Medi21 is a local project here in Valencia. They provide the SIDA info structure that sprays water on those perimetral places of the Wildland Urban Interface. You've got and projects like SmokeD, for example, that is holding this webinar itself with its fire detector and smoke detectors and drones and stuff. We've got another example with Bifiles, which provides, it's a manufacturer based here in Spain also, but it's in 83 countries right now. You've got projects like, for example, the Finnish Spiro that has developed a long-term force retardant. We have, for example, other projects that are improving the defensible spaces, like HOSI solutions, for example. I greet here my friend Martin Hoffman, or for example, Wildfire Analyze, that provides a fire simulator and is leading the market on that aspect. Those are just an examples that how private sector can help us to address the problem. Also, we, the firefighters, we need to learn, we need to practice, we need to train, we need to share what we have learned, and we have to work together globally in order to best address this issue. So international experiences in exchange and professional technifications are key. Of course, for SCAM, we are about to participate in it next month in Poland. Unfortunately, the registrations are sold out. But I hope to see there all of my friends, or plenty of my friends. I'm looking forward to attend the next Forest Camp. We've got the Pau Costa Foundation that provides also training in different countries of the world. We have, for example, the network of experts, NERO, that I am a member of here in Europe. You've got the TEP program, the emergency program, which provides, for example, training in online in a really creative and innovative way. There are also projects in college, in universities here. Different universities in Spain provide Master Fuego, which is a master's degree that provides a better look for technicals, technicians, and fire managers. And of course, we have the experiences like TREX and prescribed burning training exchange in the United States, but they are spreading to other places. So all of these and others that exist, of course, like Warframe, for example, in Portugal, among other experiences, all of this provides us the professionals a key factor in order to enhance, in order to improve as a professionals, because as we are seeing, this is not a local thing anymore. We are facing the same problem with different realities and different specifications, but we need to share, and we need to break the borders. We need to travel a lot. Well, of course, there are also super interesting projects, like, for example, the Fire Adapted Communities Learning Network. I have some friends working there as well, and they provide, they analyze in a holistic way the problem. They tackle the problem in a holistic way. Basically, you can see there that this is something that you have to tackle in a global scale, in an integral way, from prevention to public health, landscape treatment, partnerships, community engagement, that is key also, resident mitigation, wildfire response, and they are working towards that. Of course, the Pau Costa Foundation, I'm a collaborative instructor with them also. They are a private non-profit organization based in Spain, but they aim to be international. And we deliver different programs all over the world, from teaching scholars to teaching firefighters, to bring together stakeholders, to bring back old traditional uses of the landscape. Basically, we have we aim to transform an urban society towards its roots, towards to be able to engage with the ecosystem, with the landscape that we're living in a better way, in a healthier way. Okay, so pretty much this is all that I have. So throughout this conversation, we have addressed wildfires in the Wildland Urban Interface. We have examined what is causing the phenomenon, its global scale, impact, and how we can move toward collaboration solutions to mitigate the problem. So as we have seen, there is no easy solution, and it's a process that must be undertaken to involve local communities and all selected stakeholders to move towards a more resilient and adapted society. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jesús, for your
Thank you.
insightful presentation.
It's an honor.
Thank you very much, Eva, for saying about the forest camp. And that's it for today. Thank you very much, guys.